because we are starting to see a changing climate. And so we want to bring in Pat Back from the National Weather Service office in Gaylord, who is joining us today to talk about just the shifting temperatures and such that we have seen so far this season. Oh, there he is. Hey, Pat, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. All right, so tell us just out of the gate where we stand right now with the Great Lakes and temperatures, because it feels like coming off of a very chilly end of May that we're trying to catch up. It doesn't seem like they're where they should be, at least.
Well, we're actually fairly close to normal right now. This is still kind of a cold time of year. The Great Lakes do get cold. We typically bottom out in late February, early March, and then the peak temperatures for the season are usually late July into early August. So we're fairly close to where we should be right now. But what that means is a lot of the Great Lakes are still like below that 60-degree temperature, where we kind of get concerned about hypothermia and things like that. But as of right now, Saginaw Bay, Lake St. Clair, and most of Lake Erie, the surface temperatures are at or above 60 degrees. So it's getting better there.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at one of our forewarned maps here that shows the sea surface temperatures right now for our Great Lakes. And you definitely can see that Lake Erie is a bit warmer right now compared to Lake Michigan. So can you kind of compare, where Lake Superior peaks compared to Lake Erie throughout the year for folks that might want to go swimming farther north?
Oh yeah, like Lake Superior is still in the 40s by and large, and it does not get that warm. It gets up closer to maybe 60 by the end of the summer, but whereas Lake Erie will see temperatures into the 70s. So just a function of how much more water is in Lake Superior. Lake Superior, much larger water. It tends not to get as warm or as cold. Like Lake Erie is the first to freeze over, but it's also the one that gets the warmest because it has the least amount of water and it's most shallow.
Well, I was just going to ask, does it have to do with the mass of the water or just the depth of the lake? Because clearly one's farther north than the other, but it doesn't seem like that makes as much of a difference as the depth of the lake itself.
Exactly. There's just more water. Water takes a lot of energy to warm up and cool down. It just takes time, and so the more water you have, the slower the response will be.
Well, speaking of the time of warming up, I've gotten questions before, the summer solstice next week as we go into June 20th. That'll be our summer solstice, and that's going to be when we have the longest daylight hours, as you know. But why does it not coincide with the warmest day of the year, the warmest time that we have our lake temperatures, if you want to kind of dive into the science of the lag of our warmth around the Great Lakes?
Yeah, it's just kind of it takes a little bit of time, to get that inertia, I think, behind warming things up. And so there, like you said, there is definitely a lag, both with the air temperatures and likewise the water temperatures. So we do take, the warmest days do come several weeks after the longest day. And it's just, I think, just a function of the overall heat and how much, the atmosphere warms over time.
So as far as the status of the Great Lakes, we're talking about, swimming and just enjoying it recreationally, but there's also an industrial component to our Great Lakes, and that's fishing. So what's the status of our Great Lakes right now and how that will coincide with the fishing industry this summer?
That's not something I really have a whole lot of knowledge about. I just know that right now we are pretty much about where we should be water temperature wise. So there can be that effects of that, but I don't really know how that affects the fishing industry.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know a lot of folks will be looking forward to doing some swimming this summer, especially given off that cool Memorial Day weekend that we had. And I think some folks actually postponed their plans of going up north or going to the lake. So I appreciate your time today and hope you have a wonderful summer.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
You too.